I blame them for making it look like that's what they're trying to do.
Right.
It's like you're making it seem like this is a big conspiracy.
Yeah.
So maybe stop doing that. And then like there won't be so much traction for conspiracy theorists to, which I will admit sometimes get pretty nutty. And you're like, yeah, I don't think you can really prove any of that. But I understand why when the government is so corrupt and they lie so much and they screw over average Americans so much, it leads to an environment where conspiracies spread.
I'm trying to think of a conspiracy now that has just proven itself to be too nutty. Like a plausible conspiracy theory. The moon being flat or, being made out of cheese. All right, I remember once upon a time, they said the Great Reset Agenda 2030 was conspiracy theory. Did I post that side by side from the CBC? CBC went from reporting Great Reset conspiracy theory to can the Great Reset really be a way for a more equitable economy going forward? I remember thinking that sounded crazy. And then I remember finding out it was true. I remember back in the day talk about this spike protein and its impact potentially on the heart, thinking that sounds a little weird. No comment. I remember people talking about viral shedding. I was like, okay, well, that's a little crazy. And then I see videos of them talking about like mosquitoes potentially being like the delivery systems for jibby jab stuff. I can't really think of a conspiracy theory that would be so outlandish that I would say discredit on its face. But that's not the point that we want to get to with Dave Smith, his most recent appearance on Rogan. It might be one of the best. It is one of the best. It might be the best podcast I've heard in the last quarter. And I love what he says here. Listen to this.
Yeah.
And people start, and then the other thing is that there are like a lot of really legitimate conspiracies that really are conspiracies.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it's pretty clear that there was that. I mean, we have the emails, like we know, like Fauci conspired to kill the lab leak story.
They knew while they were calling people crazy conspiracy theorists for suggesting the Rona might have originated in a lab in Wuhan, China. It was racist to say that. The Lancet Medical Journal put out an op-ed, but like an open letter saying these suggestions are racist and they're hampering the ability of scientists to address this pandemic. That is anti-science. Knowing if the origins of a virus were man-made versus naturally occurring will help you combat a virus. Ignoring it will hamper your ability to do so. So again, accuse your enemies of doing what you're doing, confession through projection, whatever. They're accusing other people of being racist conspiracy theorists who are hampering the global response to the pandemic when that's exactly what they're doing. But they hid it, called it a conspiracy theory, and lo and behold, conspired. More than two people conspiring to cover up the truth, as a result of which hampered the global response, probably hampered people's ability to treat this, and probably cost people's lives. But hell, it's good for politics.
Like they conspired to kill the Hunter Biden story.
Yeah.
I mean, these are conspiracies.
Yeah.
And so, again, it's like my, analogy of like, it's like if I heard Sam Harris said recently on a podcast that he said something, he goes, and he was being critical of you and RFK, I think.
I love what he's going to say about Sam Harris. I don't know if it's in this clip where he says Sam Harris is not dumb. Sam Harris is smart, and that's why all of this is even more scary. The degree to which the brain of a smart person can get broken. It was in this podcast. It was a little later on. Said the interesting theory that it's easier to train a smart dog. Listen to this.
And Brett Weinstein. And he said, he goes, well, these guys are over here talking about how bad the mRNA vaccine is, how bad COVID restrictions are, but I'm trying to sail where I understand that, we're losing trust in these institutions, but we also need institutions that we can trust.
I love this. That Smith hits it on the ballpark, hits it on the head here. We need to have faith in institutions. Institutions build faith. They are not based on having faith in them. They build trust. They're not built on trust. And so you need to have faith in institutions does not mean you need to have faith in institutions. It means institutions have to behave in a trustworthy manner that foments, builds trust and faith in the system. Yeah, we need to have faith in the systems. That we don't is the symptom of the problem and not the problem itself. But listen to Dave Smith say it better than me.
And my thing is almost, it's like the analogy of if you're cheating on your wife and your wife catches you cheating on her, and then you go, your response is like, the real problem here is that there's not trust in this marriage, and we need a marriage with trust. And it's like, yeah.
No,
the real problem is that you're cheating. Yeah, like the problem is that you lied.
Yeah.
That's why there's no trust.
Right.
Like it's not like I'm fine with the theoretical argument that like we need institutions we can trust. Like, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great if during a pandemic there were a bunch of medical experts who could get us accurate information, be honest, and spread that information around. And so
The Lancet wrote 2 diametrically opposing articles. One was it's a conspiracy theory that the virus originated in a lab in Wuhan, China. The other one, 18 months later, it's always been a perfectly plausible theory. The Lancet ran bunk articles, bunk studies. We don't need to have faith or trust in anything. Faith or trust in an institution is the same thing as saying we need to have respect for individuals. You're not allowed committing acts of violence against individuals, but to say that an individual is entitled to respect, it's not. He's not. She's not. People are not entitled to respect. They have to earn it. They have to deserve it. And even then, they're still not necessarily entitled to it. But this is the kicker here. We don't have to have trust in the institutions. They have to act in a way that allows us to trust them. And when they don't deserve the trust. And it's not my fault that I don't trust the liars who I know have been lying to me.
Sure. But the problem isn't that we just don't trust them. The problem is that they're lying, and we caught them red-handed. And then that led to a bunch of people going like, well, how long have they been lying?
Forever.
If they're lying about this, when were they honest? And then the more you look into it, you're like, oh shit, they were always lying. They've been lying for a really long time. And so to turn around and then blame that on the problem here is just that we don't have trust. Like, no, that's actually a solution. That's a step in the right direction if you don't trust these motherfuckers.
Everyone has to appreciate that. Not having trust in someone, I mean, it's an old Reagan, trust but verify. Not having trust in someone is not the problem when it comes to accountability. It's the solution when it comes to accountability. You can't, my father always said this when we were growing up, don't trust anybody with anything more than you can allow them to steal from you. So, you have people doing work on your house let's just bring it back to kids. You have a liquor cabinet. If you can't afford your kids, if you can't let your kids steal from the liquor cabinet, lock it up. If you can trust people with no more than you can allow them to steal from you. And you trust but verify, and not having trust in people and systems. Oh, it's insulting. How dare you not trust me? Bullcrap. Hey, how about this? I like you. I may respect what you have to say, but know that I will never blindly trust you. And if I do not trust you and you purport to take it as an insult, well, that means that you don't like having your homework checked, which is a bad sign. Oh, did someone say locals no stream? Because I'm an idiot. What an idiot. It'll never end. It'll never end. Like, it's going to be one thing or another. I'm sitting there locals. I'm an idiot. You'll get it when we'll get it when I upload this later. Sorry, guys. Yeah, just an idiot. Yeah. One day. No, I keep making the joke. I'm tired. I'm cranky. Locals, add to the RTPM server and save. And I just checked. I checked as we were live, but I only checked Rumble and I didn't check locals. Miss Scusi, I will make it up to all of you on locals afterwards with a nice exclusive after party stream. Let me refresh and see if we're here now. Are we good on the locals, people? Let me see here. We got Mighty Pez says he didn't make sure it was working here, waiting for him to realize it. Well, I saw it now in the chat, and I try to go and not get interrupted in the intro rant, and then I okay, locals. I'm sorry. By the way, it's a good way to promote locals now. VivaBarnesLaw.locals.com for anybody who wants to support the channel. That is where Robert Barnes and I have a wonderful, amazing community. And by the way, those of you who know what 2 members of our community, the heroism that we witnessed at our Chattanooga meet and greet. It took me a while to get around to it. I had to think of the perfect gift. Thank you, everything. It has gone out, and they will be getting it this week. Good afternoon, everybody. It keeps getting crazier. It's impossible to keep up with the state of the world. It seems like a massive race to the bottom. You got the Michigan Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot trial for the three, I think, what is it now, three or maybe four remaining defendants who are accused of aiding and abetting, assisting in terroristic kidnapping plot. They've got that trial going on for, is it 3 weeks? It's several weeks. It started last week. I was looking at a live stream of it yesterday online. Under 100 people watching the live stream of this trial. It doesn't have Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, celebrity status. It doesn't have Kyle Rittenhouse outrage status. It's also like the third or fourth series of trials in the context of the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot. You had your first set of convictions, then you had your acquittal in there somewhere, then you had your retrial, 2 convictions, 2 acquittals. It's amazing. And I've been watching it. I've been trying to catch up on it the last 4 days. We'll talk about that for a bit. At the same time, maybe it's not for lack of interest. Maybe it's just because everybody's spread too thin. You have the DC judge, what's her name, Chutney, setting Trump's election interference indictment in DC, setting it for March 5th, March 4th, March 2024, the day before Super Tuesday. March 24th. The irony is they're calling it the election interference lawsuit because that's exactly what it is. It's an election interference indictment. We got that. We got what's going on in Canada. We've got there's too much. We're going to go over the list in a bit, but you mean the FBI plot? Well, we're gonna get there. I mean, I'm listening to the evidence. They have evidence. They have video. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in a bit. I got pounced on by I'll just say the DeSantis supporting individuals on Twitter because I made a wildly optimistic prediction that Trump could see, or that I look, I want to remain an optimist. I want to believe that people are having their eyes opened to the decay of the system. And I never understood why the Jewish community voted so wildly, disproportionately for Democrats in the States and liberals in Canada. I never understood it. Drives me a little nuts. Never understood why the black community also voted disproportionately for Democrats and liberals. I made a prediction that I predict 2x to 3x, 2 to 3-fold improvement in the next election. Now, we have been talking about an improvement among the black and Latino working class vote for a while on the channel. So it's not even about the mugshot, which a lot of people want to pretend it's about. It's about a shift in ideology and a shift in waking up to the fact that the hope and change that Obama promised and the build back better that Biden promised has turned into a world of shit for a lot of young people. Now, I said 2x to 3x from what I thought was 8% support in 2020, but I think it might have been 11 or 12% support in 2020, which makes my prediction maybe based on a faulty premise, but I can still get there if we get to like 16 to 24% in the next election. So I got into it with some of the DeSantis supporters back and forth on Twitter. And then Justin Hart said he thinks I'm wildly wrong, respectfully thinks I don't understand how the primary process works for the GOP. I think I have a rough idea. He might be popping on, or he said he's going to pop on 2 o'clock Eastern. So he's going to come on. We're going to talk about it. It'll be fun. But before we get there, so we're good on everywhere. If you want to become part of our wonderful community, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Rumble rants, understand that YouTube takes 30% of those things. What am I looking for here? YouTube takes 30% of that. Rumble has these things called Rumble rants, and they take 20%, although for the rest of this year, they take 0%. And we've got one here from Tatone, who says, Trump being indicted to cover up for the real criminal occupying the White House. Joe Biden is a traitor who sold out USA for millions in bribes. I will stop right there, but thank you for the Rumble rant. I agree with the sentiment of that. What they are persecuting Trump for is that of which they are guilty. When you understand, and we'll talk about it a bit when we get into the Trump bullshit indictment and the absolute election interference trial date. Never before has a trial date been scheduled so quickly. We'll get into all of that. Everything they are accusing Trump of is that which Biden and his family, alleged crime family, have done. Fornicating with hookers, Trump didn't do it. That's the Steele dossier. But you know who did do it? Biden family members. Quid pro quo, holding off money, threatening Ukrainian officials. Trump sure as hell didn't do that. You know who did that? Joe Biden. Everything they're accusing Trump of doing is what they have done. These indictments are an indictment on what they're not indicting Biden for, and nothing of what Trump has done. And my goodness, when you see Chris Christie, that unholy swamp beast, spouting the crap that he's spouting. Oh, okay. We'll get into all of that on the Rumble side of things. For now, I just want to talk about one thing out of Canada, which has been driving me up the wazoo. Crazy. I cannot, ghoulish is the only way to describe this. Got that all off my chest. I do my exercises in the morning now. I try to meditate. And you know what the problem is? I try to meditate. I get irritated with the voice of the person giving the guided meditation tour. It's either too pretentious. It's either too casual. The background music drives me crazy. I can feel like sweat dripping off my nose. It bothers me. I'll try to get more Zen in life, but it might not be possible. I might not be wired that way. I am enraged at what's going on in Canada. Enraged. We now have the second person in Canada who is confirmed to have died. And I'm going to say died now, but I actually believe that this is nothing more than a state killing. Sheila Annette Lewis was allowed to die by being denied life-saving medical treatment because she refused to submit, not to vaccines in general, to the jab in particular. Sheila Annette Lewis was on the channel. We were doing our best to raise awareness of her story because most people hadn't heard about it. We were doing our best to raise funds for what she needed to do because she was getting denied the life-saving treatment in Canada, in Alberta, because she was not submitting to the jibby jab. And so she's going to have to go get it in Texas, where it was going to cost like $100,000 for some preliminary tests and $1 million for the procedure. She was on the channel. We talked about her story. When she got placed on the organ donors list in 2019, they told her, you're not up to speed on your vaccines. And she got up to speed on her actual vaccines. She took the actual vaccines, or got up to date because she didn't have her book, because she came from another province, whatever. She took the vaccines that she needed to take in order to get put on the organ donor list. But when it came time for the jab, the COVID jab, because it was new technology, NIH described it as an experimental mRNA jab. Well, they didn't call it the jab. They called it an experimental vaccine. Some people didn't feel comfortable submitting to an experimental vaccine that had no track record of efficacy or safety. Sheila Annette Lewis being one of them. When she refused to submit to that jab, they bumped her from number 2 on the organ donor priority list to a number 0, and then they removed her altogether. And they said, sorry, this is our protocol now in Alberta. I'm going to get to why I blame Trudeau in addition to the province of Alberta, but we'll get there in a second. They made it protocol. She refused to submit to it. They took her off. She then sued the doctors and the hospital for charter violations. Because Canada now is a country in which you can't have access to the news because of government policy and the response from private enterprise. Because Canada is a country where, it used to be public court hearings were the rule and not the exception, and now it seems to be quite the opposite. Because Canada is a hermit kingdom run by an evil tyrant, Justin Trudeau, and his ilk at the provincial level, they had a court publication ban on Sheila Annette Lewis's trial, her constitutional charter challenge. They couldn't name the doctors. They couldn't name the hospital. Or let me rephrase. They banned publishing the name of the doctors, the name of the hospitals. And they banned Sheila Annette Lewis from specifying what organ she needed for the transplant, because that would be information that would allow people to decipher, given how unique it was, the hospital and the doctors. And they might face some backlash for letting a Canadian woman die because they decided to deny her life-saving treatment. So they have a publication ban on the charter challenge, and she lost at every step of the way on the charter challenge. Lower court said, no, there's no charter challenge here. We're not getting involved in medical decisions. Court of Appeal said, no, there's no charter challenge here. We're not getting involved in medical decisions. And even if we were, it wouldn't be a charter challenge. And the Supreme Court basically signed her death warrant and said, we're not taking this up to the Supreme Court. She then went and sued for medical malpractice, and she died before she could have her settlement implemented, because apparently she resolved this amicably. They had a settlement. And then she died. She died because the state made the province, the country made the active decision to deny her needed medical care. Some people call that dying, and I will call that a state-sanctioned murder. They killed Sheila Annette Lewis, and they killed her because she defied their government orders. That's my opinion. Some people might call it hyperbolic. Some people might call it inflammatory. Good for you. Call it that. You're an idiot. That's how I call it. But then you get members of the Canadian government. Listen to this. Hold on. Let me get it. Which one do I start with? Let's start with this one. Here, we have to go in order. Don't read this one. Let me get to the here. This is the second post from one Charlie Angus. Who's Charlie Angus? NDP? Artist, writer, politician, singer with Grievous Angels, author, député musicien et auteur, political and cultural thoughts. Yeah, well, your political and cultural thoughts, Angus, are criminal in nature. Charlie Angus, this is the second tweet. Disinformation and conspiracy cost lives. It is appalling that Pierre Poilievre continues to fan the flame of anti-vax conspiracy. The fact that he is cheering on a candidate who was kicked out of Doug Ford's caucus is telling. He is promoting a party of extremism. Now, hold on a second. He deleted the original post. Charlie Angus, member of the NDP. Hold on a second. Stop screen. Let me get the original one. The original one was so it's ghoulish. Like I've never used that word until recently. You'll have to forgive my impatience with him. Here. Ghoulish. This was his original tweet. A woman died because she preferred to fight for disinformation, anti-vax bullshit, and conspiracy. This is what Charlie Angus tweets after a woman died or was killed because the government said, you refuse to submit to this experimental new technology jab? Well, we're going to let you die. We're going to deny you healthcare that you've paid into a system for because it's universal healthcare. Oh, I'll get into the bullshit analogies in a bit. They let her die. Letting someone die by denying them what they need has another word for it. But this is what he tweeted. A woman died because she preferred to fight for disinformation, anti-vax bullshit, and conspiracy. Pierre Poilievre says she is a hero and supports a candidate so bogus that Doug Ford kicked him out. Awesome, Angus. Now do girls with short skirts or who are walking, going to bars. Talk about blaming the victim. She preferred to fight for disinformation. She got what she deserved, is what he's basically saying right here. And then when he gets called out on that, what did he say here? This is the level of absolute degeneracy of Canadian politics. NDP, by the way, is the New Democrat Party. They should call them the NFP, the New Fascist Party. Hey, look at this. Jordan Peterson tweets to him and says, You didn't call out Pierre Poilievre. You said a Canadian citizen deserved to die for her political views. And she did die for her political views in Canada. That's Jordan Peterson, to which Charlie Angus, and I have so many jokes that I want to make about his name, but it would not be polite or right. It would be juvenile and non-substantive. No wonder the CPC Ontario was forced to do an intervention with Jordan Peterson. The communists love communism. The fascists love fascism. This arrogant prick loves the system that killed a woman and that is now going after a man's license because they don't like the thing. He loves the abuse of power. No wonder the CP Ontario. Whatever, I don't know what it is. I could just go like this. College of Psychologists, sorry. No wonder the CP Ontario was forced to compel Jordan Peterson to do a re-education camp. Not only is he making shit up about what I said, but he is coming to the defense of a guy who said he would fornicate with my coach. Seriously, how does the college let this guy near patients? Hey, college, you have a politician telling you to sanction another citizen, remove their license for wrongthink. And Charlie Angus is purporting to be the victim in all of this? A ghoul. A ghoul is what he is. I'm getting a little angry. I think I can hear my wife hearing me scream. And then he says that Jordan Peterson's making shit up. The internet is forever, Charlie. And so long as you have your not defenders of the internet, neurotic OCD types like me, but people like me who have a decent crowd as well, who gather the information and make it forever, you won't get away with your flippin' lies. Oh, that sounded so Canadian, eh? Hey, Charlie Angus, you won't get away with your flippin' lies, eh? You really are the scum of the earth, Charlie Angus, NDP. The internet is forever. What you said is on the left. A woman died because she preferred to fight for disinformation, anti-vax bullshit, and conspiracy. That's what he said. Then he deleted it and put out this one. Disinformation and conspiracy cost lives. Oh, why did I have to delete it and say that a woman died because of defending anti-vax bullshit? Why did I delete that and retweet it like this in response to the same tweet? Why? Because I'm a filthy scum of the earth ghoul of a liar. And then I'm going to say that Jordan Peterson is making up lies. And then I'm going to go ring the bell of the CP of Ontario to go after Jordan Peterson's license even more than they're already going. Scum, ghoul, fascist, communists. Okay, that's what I think of that. Whew. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how is the how is the theater? Oh, it's No, it really is depressing. Like, you try to operate on the basis that half of the shit you see on Twitter, half of the people saying, oh, bot accounts, they have to be bot accounts. Like, nobody can sit there and actually sincerely defend Justin Trudeau. Nobody can seriously sit there and defend this jackass. The problem is whether or not half of the people on Twitter are bots, paid for accounts and whatever. You got a politician coming out and saying, she got what she deserved. Fuck around, find out. I mean, that's basically what he's saying. Hey, next time, shut up, do what the government says, or we will let you die. That's it. Oh, and also, nobody tells a woman what to do with her body. I'm pro-choice government. Scum of the earth. And there's no other way to say it. Now, all that to say as well, don't give them what they want in terms of inappropriate responses, backlash, public mockery. Never let them forget. They must have the political blowback at the ballot box, at the offices, for their legacies. But segueing into the Gretchen Whitmer, don't do anything stupid. Anybody gets online telling you to do something stupid, assume they're a Fed, because they probably are. They want nothing more in the world right now than to try to sucker in a bunch of other Gretchen Whitmer conspirators. They want nothing more right now than to sucker in lone wolves, unhinged individuals, January 6ers. They want nothing more than to get that, provoke that of a response so they can justify doing even more. So anyone gets online and says, do something stupid, they're a Fed. Operate on that basis. Govern yourself accordingly. Don't do stupid things. Mock them, shame them. Never let them forget that they will go down in history as the ghouls and the monsters that they were. All right, good. Now, on that note, let's get into the Gretchen Whitmer trial on Rumble. We're going to end this now on YouTube. Link. We are loading up on water, by the way. We're going to be south and southeast of the hurricane that is going to make landfall north to the west. But we'll get some Rumble. We'll get some water. Make sure that we're good. Link to Rumble. Boom shakalaka right there. 787 people on YouTube. Mosey on over to Rumble. Come. It's going to be good. We're going to talk about Fed posting. And when people come and say, hey, do something stupid, there's a reason why people are telling you to do something stupid instead of doing it themselves. Because they're trying to get you into trouble. They're trying to weaponize you, and they're trying to exploit you for political purposes. So let's do that. Hold on. I just heard a beep on my phone. Let's just see if that's nothing. Okay, good. Let's go. Rumble, let's get ready to rumble. Okay, there we go. Ending on YouTube in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now. Oh, here, let me read this Rumble rant before we go. I don't think I'm giving myself an ulcer. I'd give myself an ulcer with something else if it weren't something meaningful to give myself an ulcer over. Nancy Coe says, "Oh, Viva, what would we do without you? Love the way you hold back." I started swearing more than I should, and I say it's not good, damn it. But ghouls must be called ghouls. Now, Gretchen Whitmer, the trial, Fed posting, people, vulnerable people who, but for some massive stimulation, would never do what they did. But my goodness, nonetheless, they got duped into being dumb, and they're going to suffer the consequences for it now. The Gretchen Whitmer, this is like part 3 of the trial. You got two brothers on trial. Their name starts with an N, has a U and two L's in it. Then you got this guy Fix in the trial. And these are people who partook in the training, the plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer. Right now they have Impala is the FBI informant who's testifying. He's got a flipping binder. It's got to be 6 inches thick of the evidence that they're going to present in chief. We know all of the evidence. We know it. I mean, it's not really new evidence that's coming out in the broader context of the Gretchen Whitmer trial. It's just, the degree of the culpability of the defendants varies depending on who they are. We know what happened. You had a bunch of individuals, part of a militia, the Wolverine Watchmen or the Midnight Wolverine, something with Wolverine and Watchmen or something. You have people who are downtrodden. I say vulnerable not in the weak sense, but maybe, impoverished, easily manipulated is how I mean by vulnerable, who are part of a militia making Facebook posts, get infiltrated by the FBI, who then take what might have otherwise just been the musings of people on drugs and turn it into a outlandish plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, fly her out with a helicopter from her cottage, hold a trial in the forest, and when you find out that there were as many FBI agents, FBI informants, what they call confidential human sources, CHSs, involved in this foil plot as there were defendants to it, when you find out that some of the CHSs were getting paid $60,000 a year, that they were offering payment to the defendants, egging them on to do things that they would never have done and they didn't even agree to do on their own, then you might start looking at it a little bit differently. And they're having the round 3 of the trial now for the remaining defendants. They're going to get convicted. Even going through the prosecution's evidence, you have text messages, you have voice messages where they're talking about doing stupid things. They got the one piece of evidence that they've been coming back to time and time again is they did a slow motion video driving by Gretchen Whitmer's vacation cottage where they were going to go get her and kidnap her, as if there would be no security there in any event. But they were talking about there's going to be layers of security. They're going to have to fight through the layer 1 of security, get into layer 2. Because they had these people who had infiltrated this plot, planting ideas, orchestrating, organizing, supplying. And the question I had was, how did they find the address of Gretchen Whitmer's cottage? It was in the news at one point in time, assuming it's the same cottage, that this was where Gretchen Whitmer was trying to get her boat in the water while she was locking down the rest of Michigan. My understanding, and it's subject to being wrong, is that it's not even as though the defendants had the proactive step of going into the land registry to get the address. My understanding is it's the FBI who drove them to the property to identify the property to them. And if I'm wrong on that, I will absolutely correct myself. This is my understanding, subject to potentially being wrong. It was the FBI that drove the defendants out to the cottage, basically saying, here's where it is, let's do this. But watching the evidence that's being adduced, watching it in the broader context, people have to understand what's going on here. These are 2 of the exhibits that they filed as evidence to show that that these defendants were hell-bent on an anti-government plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer. It's for those who are listening on podcasts. You got the assassination of JFK on the top. You got 9/11 in the middle, and then you got the coronavirus ball on the bottom. And it says the same cult of deception that was behind this, because we now know that the deep state was behind the execution and assassination of JFK. And behind this, now there is arguments as to the level of involvement. But one thing is for certain, there was a cover-up of involvement in one thing I think we can all agree on, whether or not some people go to the full U.S. involvement in 9/11. There was involvement in a cover-up of who was involved in 9/11. I think that much we can all agree with. A lot of Saudi involvement that was covered up at the time because it would have been politically impossible to continue supporting a regime that just caused the most deadly terrorist attack on American soil in the history of America. Same cult of deception that was behind this, JFK, and this, 9/11, is now doing this. And then you got the coronavirus ball. It's a meme. Now, it's going to be a meme, by the way, that it's going to be a meme right now that possession of which or communication of which by anyone else, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to be met with the same, it's going to be met with the same criminal underlying presumed Minority Report type intent. Then we got another one, which is a play on the Gadsden flag, which was just in the news recently. It says, tread on them. I don't really know what this one means. And apparently the skull and crossbones on the tractor had something to do with a movement. When one appreciates that this is the evidence in support of this plot, in conjunction with the recent conviction of Douglas Mackey for a meme, for the meme that said, save yourself some time, text your vote in. We are entering a realm now where they're not just trying to criminalize disinformation, misinformation, speech. They're trying to criminalize memes in real time. Now, yes, some people will say, Viva, you're being hyperbolic. They're not criminalizing memes. They're just showing the memes in support of the criminal conspiracy to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer. Yes, dingbats who think that that's an insightful observation conceded, because that was never the point. The point is now, first of all, in what some might feel to have been entrapment and fabricating the plot to foil, you rely on these memes as evidence of the criminal plot. Well, that's going to, I guarantee you, if it's not already being done, but I suspect it is, that will lead to investigations and criminalizing of sharing of memes. Well, geez, this guy's sharing an anti-government meme. We should probably go spy on them, get a little secret spy warrant. The person might be plotting to kidnap a governor. Who knows? Or you know what? Let's just go and turn it into some sort of criminal election interference plot, like they did with Douglas Mackey. They are trying to criminalize all aspects of dissent, directly and indirectly. And the sooner everybody understands that, the sooner they might stop being so bloody complacent in allowing it to happen. So that's it. I tried to catch up on the plot. It's not the trial. It's not going to go well. They're going to get convicted. Unless their level of their involvement respectively varies, that I'm not entirely familiar with now. But when you get people out there encouraging you to do stupid things, almost looking like they're Fed posting, chances are they're Fed posting, and if you go along with it, you are playing a stupid game, you are not looking out for yourself, and you are setting yourself up to be exploited, as these individuals were in this case. Okay, now before we segue into the other discussion here, let's just see what's going on in the chat on Rumble. And then we're going to, oh, by the way, and then after this, we go live, we're going to go exclusive on Locals. We've got an amazing community there. We've got now our third, what is it called? Third iteration of our, we're calling it, I think we're going to call it the Locals Convos. So we've got members of the community. There's 117,000, give or take. Those are not supporters. Those are just people who come for information on vivabarneslaw.locals.com. That's available for everybody. We've got our supporters, who are the ones who choose to support what we do financially, $7 a month, $70 a year. Although some people actually support us with more than that because they like what Robert Barnes and I do that much, and it's actually very encouraging and very flattering. We've done it now twice. Supporters who want to have basically an interview, but it's more like a conversation. I put up a post. Supporters who want to participate put in a comment. It runs for 24 hours. I pick a random number using random number generate, and then select that person, and we do like a half hour, 45-minute discussion exclusive on Locals. It's fun. It's fun. So that's what we're going to do. Well, we're not doing that. We did that, was it Sunday or Monday? It was last Friday. And they always end up being amazing because everybody's got a story. Everybody's got an amazing story to tell. Now, what I was trying to do here was put the link to Locals. Link to Locals. Now, what I was going to do, holy cows, in as much as vlog, VLAWGS, was the idea of one of the subs, I'm going to have to, what am I going to go trademark another word now? Viva. This is from Corn on Macabre, or Cornon Macabre. Viva, I am so disappointed in you. Why are you still not calling show clips you upload Frylights? Missed opportunity. Cornon Macabre, it is now a stolen opportunity because that is all that they will ever be known as, Frylights. Viva Frylights. Holy cows. And now I'm watching myself manically waving. Get that out of there. Cornon Macabre, thank you very much. That's actually phenomenally great. Did I miss I missed a super chat here. Biden is not in charge of the executive branch, but who is? Obama is. That's why they want to jail Trump. Dems know they will be in jail. I've heard that before. But I do think I remember even at the time people were saying Biden, Obama's not in charge. I don't think it's a one individual thing, and I certainly don't think it's a former president thing. It's an administration. I would maybe just more venture to say it's the military-industrial complex, or just the economic industrial complex that has overtaken the government, whether it's military, whether now it's pharmaceutical. Yeah, but there's no question Joe Biden is not only not in charge, he's not even a useful idiot anymore. I think he is fast becoming a liability in that he can't even plausibly be regarded as an autonomous, free-thinking individual, let alone the president of the United States. Like for the last few years, people were suspending disbelief as to the level of dementia of Joe Biden. They say, okay, look, he's not the sharpest pencil in the box. He's not the youngest spring chicken, but he still can exercise 90 minutes and he's still sharp. Look at those witty repartees. People can't even do that anymore. And when people can't possibly seriously, plausibly buy the idea that Joe Biden is competent enough to run the government, well, then they have to abandon that narrative. And to get him out, it's either going to be the 25th Amendment, or impeach him, or get him to resign for health reasons, because they really pull up the dirt on Hunter and others. There's not a question on earth Joe Biden is not in charge of anything. I don't think it's Obama. I think it's more deep state apparatus, military-industrial complex that loves the wars, it loves the laundering, and they want to keep it going. It's a damn good business for them. All right, but with that said, people, that's probably a good segue into the latest of the madness. Now, Julie Kelly, it's like on the interwebs, there are people who you go to because you know that they are in depth on a specific point. I like to say maybe I'm the jack of all trades, or maybe I have a little bit of the mastery of the Canadian stuff. Julie Kelly is following the Trump nonsense better than anybody else. She's following the January 6th stuff better than everybody else at Julie_Kelly 2. Julie the French way, JULIE_Kelly 2. They scheduled the trial for Trump in DC. Barnes had an amazing Bourbon with Barnes last night, where I listened to Barnes after formulating my opinion so that I can reassess my own opinion. And if Barnes, if my thoughts are in line with Barnes, I like to think of myself as smarter. If they're not, I like to ask myself why, because I do think Barnes, I think he's smarter than me. The fact that I think he's smarter than me means that I listen to him and others in order to make sure I understand something. So Barnes' take on this, by the way, and it's fantastic. They found their corrupt prosecutor, or whatever the hell they call Jack Smith, DA, district attorney, Jack Smith. They found their I don't want to say a bulldog, because I like bulldogs. Bulldogs are beautiful animals. Hold on a second. Are we looking at this? Let me pull this out while I rant a little bit here. I don't want to call him a bulldog because I like bulldogs. And people used to call me the bulldog, or they used to call me the pit bull, as my father-in-law, because we were dogged, we were principled, and we didn't bite for no good reason. Jack Smith is not a pit bull. He's not a bulldog. What he is he's a feral, he's a feral rabid raccoon is what he is. No, he's just a tool. He's a useful tool. They found their corrupt DA in Jack Smith, and now Barnes has been railing against this judge for a little while. They found their corrupt judge who's going to take a complex, novel legal theory of election interference indictment in D.C. and jam it to trial. What month is it now? We're August 2023. August or September? August, September comes after August. Let's just say we're September. September to October to November to December to January. Now we're in 2024 to February to March. 6 months to get the first of its kind indictment to trial. There's something like 12 plus million pages of discovery involved in this. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt and say, people are just ill-informed, they're busy, and etc., which they are. So like those who do not find this shocking, appalling, and just patently absurd on its face, they are either too busy with their lives to fully understand, or they're idiots, or they're liars. It could be a little bit of all three when it comes to politicians. There is no way to rationalize this insanity. Period. Full stop. It's not, and it's not like, it's by their own admission. You cannot jam the bulk of criminal trials to trial so quickly. You just can't. Let alone ones involving novel legal theories, presidential frontrunners in an election season where there's tens of millions of pages of documents. It's laughably, stupidly corrupt on its face. And the fact that nobody calls it out, or anybody who does not call it out, they're either stupid, idiots, liars, or too busy with their lives to understand what's going on around them, which is all fun and games. Although I think it's, was it Plato who said, you take an interest in politics or politics will take an interest in you? He might not have said that. It's absurd. So with that said, let's just see how absurd it is. Julie Kelly, who gets the transcripts of the hearing. I guess you have to pay money to get these transcripts, quickly. Julie Kelly's, hold on, she's got a Substack, which we should probably, juliekelly.substack.com. She's got shepherds. I'm going to give her credit for being a dog lover. I have never liked shepherds as dogs. They're beautiful dogs. I never liked their lanky tails, the way their hips slink when they run. Nothing to do with the German side of it. And I don't like long-haired dogs, oddly enough. All right. Julie Kelly tweets, new. I have transcript from today's hearing before Judge Chutkan, and it's worse than reported. Chutkan marveled at Jack's rapid discovery production while downplaying the fact that the DOJ could not name a single case in D.C. District that went from indictment to trial in 5 months. Let's read what she has here. It says, and I'm quoting from Julie Kelly's tweet, and the government hasn't identified any cases in this district where the length of time between indictment and trial was roughly 5 months. Although they did point to the Manafort case in the Eastern District of Virginia, which went to trial roughly 5 months after the superseding indictment. After the superseding indictment is after the initial indictment. So you get your initial indictment, and then I don't know how long after the original indictment the superseding indictment came in, but already not analogous. And the Manafort case, what was it? The Manafort case was, oh, geez, what was Manafort case? I want to say lying to investigators, lying to the FBI, but I'm not sure. I'll have to get that in. Okay, so there's not a single case while they are persecuting the leading candidate for the presidency, former president, on charges that have never been levied before against anybody, but let alone against the former president. They ram it to trial. I don't think, by the way, my prediction, take it with the grain of salt that all of my predictions come with. It's obviously not getting to trial for March. But it's that they're not even shy. They're not even ashamed. They're not even reluctant to show the degree to which they are actively interfering with an election. The day before Super Tuesday, you get Trump stuck in, I think it's a 6-week trial. Oh, by the way, while the judge is coordinating with the other judge in New York over those bullshit accounting charges in that state indictment in New York. I mean, it's like it. Barnes says it a little more vigorously than me. You want to talk about RICO election interference charges? Wait until we get to the NPR article. Okay, so they haven't had any case like it, although in the Manafort case, it went to trial 5 months after the superseding indictment, which was necessarily after a fair bit after the original indictment. Okay, fine. All right. Let's hear what she has to say about Jack Smith. The court. I'll note that many years ago when I was trying murder and conspiracy cases across the street in Superior Court, we got witnesses' names on the day of trial and witness statements and grand jury testimony before the witnesses testified and sometimes after the witness testified. And while the discovery rules here in federal court provide for far more disclosure in advance, the manner in which the discovery in this case has been organized indicates that the government has made a considerable effort to expedite review. I actually want to highlight the first part of this that Julie didn't highlight. I'll note that many years ago when trying murder and conspiracy cases across the street, only the most important cases in the world, we screwed the defendants. We got witness names on the day of the trial. We got witness statements and grand jury testimony before the witnesses testified, sometimes after. Oh, thank you for highlighting the fact that in the past, the system has fucked the most vulnerable people who don't have the bullhorn that Trump has. Thank you for pointing out just how corrupt the system truly is and has been and is only now being revealed to be because of the target they've gone after. Yeah, in the past we screwed defendants hard. Oh, what's that? We've only disclosed witnesses, the day of. Sometimes we only, grand jury testimony after the witnesses have testified. We did that. Nobody had a problem with it back then because they were downtrodden, unlikable, criminal, the dregs of society. Nobody cared about it. We screwed a lot of people. Nobody said anything back then. Now we're trying to do it with the president during an election cycle. There's nothing to it. Totally normal. Well done, Jack Smith. You got your Jack Smith prosecutor. You got your chutney judge. You got a whole crooked, corrupt system that is actively colluding to interfere in the 2024 election. But don't take my word for it. Is this the article? Here we go. Judge sets March 4, 2024 as Trump trial date in election interference case. I love the fact that, it's an election interference case, all right. The federal judge overseeing a criminal case against former President Donald Trump for interfering with the 2020 presidential election has set a trial date for March 4, 2024, brushing aside his arguments for a 2-year delay. Just brushing aside the fact that he's running for president. Oh, but I'm going to treat Trump like any regular person, an athlete. I wouldn't organize a trial around the Stanley Cup or the World's. First of all, the judge does say that. I don't have the experience to know if that's a lie or not. I suspect that's not true. I do suspect, chat, you fact check me in real time. I bet that they would organize a trial around a World Series playoffs game. I maybe. Judge Tanya Chutkan said she spoke briefly with a judge in New York who had been set to oversee a separate hush money case against Trump later in March. Oh, hey, it's so amazing. We're witnessing Time Magazine election fortification bragging about it. But they call it election fortification. They don't call it election interference. Yeah, sure, we had rich, powerful cabals changing the rules, censoring information, litigating in secret, controlling the flow of information, changing perceptions, but they weren't rigging the election. They were fortifying it. We don't have judge colluding with another judge to say, hey, you get him, you screw him for, I can't get the months now, right? March. You screw him for April, May. I'll screw him for March, April. That way, he'll be in trial the entire year. But we don't want to overlap because then one of us is going to have to change. Let's collude. Oh, no. We're not RICO colluding to interfere with an election. We're just organizing schedules. So let me just call up the judge in New York and see when she's going to put him on trial, or he, and then I'll decide to put him on trial as well so that we can just, he'll just go from trial to trial to trial in an election year. And we're not going to treat him any differently than we would treat anybody else. Why would we? It's only democracy. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, another captured Soros-funded individual, another captured prosecutor, Soros-funded, partisan to the core, who will burn the system down in order to rule over the ashes. That's Alvin Bragg. He had previously, oh, by the way, and for anyone who says it's bullshit that he wasn't funded by George Soros, yeah, he wasn't funded directly. It went through a super PAC called The Color for Change, $1 million to them, and then they backed Alvin Bragg. That's how it works, dumb bums. So don't pretend to be thicker than thou. And Soros didn't cut Alvin Bragg a check. That's not how it works. But yes, Soros supported, Soros funded, Soros sponsored candidates. Was it Color of Change? It was Color of Change PAC. And just give them $1 million, and then they go support Alvin Bragg. And then Soros doesn't support Alvin Bragg directly. Much like when Fauci says we're not funding gain of function research in Wuhan, China. No, we're not. It's a non-governmental, it's an NGO that we fund that goes to fund it. So it's 6 of one way, half a dozen the other. And if you pretend not to get it, you are pretending to be thick. Or you are thick. Dense, not thick. All right, here we go. Okay. Manhattan District Alvin had previously said he would be flexible on that case as long as the judges agreed. Remember, people, it's not interference, it's fortification of justice. The trial in Washington, D.C. at courts only steps from the U.S. Capitol where rioters ran amok falls deep into the 2024 election season and just before Super Tuesday. It adds to a hectic legal schedule for Trump, who also faces charges in New York, Florida, and Fulton County, Georgia. Oh, hectic. Thanks for the understatement of the year. It's a hectic legal schedule to be tied up in a year of indictment trials. Oh, but Chris Christie, he brought it on himself. Right, Chris, you swamp rhino. Oh, my goodness. So let's hear. Trump has pleaded not guilty to the charges. The yada, yada, yada. Okay. Setting a trial date does not depend and should not depend on a defendant's personal obligations, the judge said. She said setting a trial date while considering a professional athlete's schedule would be inappropriate. And at the same time, and that the same would be true in a case involving a former president running to for the White House. Can people fact check this? I think that's wrong. I think that that's wrong. And I think that they sometimes, when exigent circumstances would require, they would actually schedule a trial around very important personal obligations, as though Trump is saying here, I want to go to my kid's birthday party. No, I'm running for president, and you're getting in the way of that, which smells a lot like election interference. But fact check this, because this, I may be wrong, but this smells wrong. I take seriously the defendant's request that Mr. Trump be treated like any other defendant appearing before this court, and I intend to do so. Bullshit, said the judge, a longtime former public defender. Let's see what we got here. Special counsel prosecutor Molly Gaston said the Justice Department had already turned over 12.8 million pages of discovery to the defense, including another group of materials overnight. So, by the way, that's what they've already turned over. Seems to suppose that there's even more to it than that. And they just got some recently. So don't worry, guys. They're not going to dump it the night before a trial. Just, here's 12.8 million pages. Apparently it's grand jury testimony, a bunch of other stuff. She said the special counsel had created a shared, nearly 300-page annotated version of the 4-count indictment, pointing out their evidentiary basis for each allegation in the charge. At this point, discovery is now substantially complete, Gaston said. Much of the material consists of duplicate papers or pages the Trump legal team has already seen coming from his Political Action Committee, National Archives, Secret Service, yada, yada, yada. Okay, fine. The judge pointed out, so I'll take that with a grain of salt. Many of the potential 250 witnesses in the case worked closely with Trump, who spent months trying without success to prevent some of his attorney's top aides from providing grand jury testimony. They got his attorneys to provide grand jury testimony. Where? D.C., I think. They are desecrating every aspect of what was hitherto considered constitutional rights, fundamental rights. But the problem is that people don't have faith in the system. It's not the problem that the system is fundamentally corrupt. It's an overwhelming task, Trump attorney John Lauro said. The man's life and liberty is at stake. He deserves adequate representation. Said the trial date is inconsistent with Trump's right to due process, and the judge said she would note that objection for the record. That's very nice of her. Lauro, who was hired about 6 weeks ago, says he had a solemn obligation, quote, to protect Trump's rights, raising his voice. The judge twice cautioned him to, quote, take the temperature down here. Now, don't get angry that we're screwing your client. Don't get angry that we are desecrating democracy. Don't get angry. If you get angry, I'll have to hold you in contempt of court. Sit there and smile as we do it. And say, thank you, sir, may I have another? Thank you, ma'am, may I have another? It's not easy when you have an entire government against you. Yeah, okay, fine. President Trump stands before you as an innocent man right now. Okay. Laura argued the case would be a complex one as he foreshadowed a number of motions he will file in the coming weeks. I think they maybe been listening to Barnes. Barnes was on with Don Jr. yesterday, and I think it's airing, if it's not today, tomorrow, Thursday. I have to see. I'll double check to see when that's going to be broadcast, and I'll share that around. But Barnes was on with Don Trump Jr., so you know they're hearing it now. During the Sunday streams, Barnes was talking about the various motions, constitutional challenges that they should and ought to and must file. They're a little behind on the motion for recusal. Now that the judge has clearly displayed the bias, a motion to recuse might look like it's driven by unhappiness with the decisions that the judge has already made, whereas if they had made it early on before the judge made these outrageous decisions, it would have been a different dynamic. Okay. The motions he's gonna file. The former president should be immune from prosecution because he has been indicted for being President Trump. Lauro said he's preparing a motion to dismiss the indictment based on selective prosecution, Barnes mentioned, because it provides an advantage to these prosecutors' bosses who's running a campaign against President Trump. He said they plan to assert Trump was exercising his First Amendment rights, not violating federal conspiracy laws. There's a number of challenges, motions to dismiss. First and foremost, Trump was already acquitted on the impeachment, the second impeachment on a lot of this. Imagine being acquitted on an impeachment and then indicted afterwards by some rogue, corrupt prosecutors. If these are the right allegations, I'm getting mixed up between these 4 indictments. He said the trial should happen as soon as the defense can reasonably be ready, given Trump's disparaging remarks about prosecutors, witnesses, the judge, and residents of Washington, D.C., which could taint the jury pool. Oh, well, but that's so stupid. Prosecutor Gascon said the trial should happen as soon as the defense can reasonably be ready, given Trump's disparaging remarks about prosecutors, witnesses, the judge, and residents, which could taint the jury pool. Wouldn't they want that? Wouldn't they want it to keep talking badly about the judge and the prosecutors? All right, whatever. Earlier Monday, Trump called the special counsel, Jack Smith, deranged and accused Biden White House officials of being fascist thugs. Okay. Smith attended the hearing in Washington on Monday morning, but he didn't make any comments outside the courtroom. There you have it. All right. So that's that. That's the latest news. Just the judge, making sure that the schedules of the other judges are open so they can make sure to get Trump in one indictment trial after another so they can get their conviction prior to the election of 2024 because they think that's going to help them. But I'm calling it now. He's not getting to trial in D.C. on March before Super Tuesday, period. Rien ne va plus. No more bets. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. What else do we have here? Okay, hold on one second. And then we're going to see Justin Hart's going to come in. But we're going to segue into the DeSantis discussion sooner than later. Here, what do we got here? Hold on, what's going on here? Did I get a bunch here? Cornel McCabe, Viva. Okay, so hold on. Cornel McCabe got that. Lord Dog. Talk with Barnes about the Joe Biden 2017 tax return online shows $10 million bribe. Dude, we're going to talk about it Sunday. There's just only so much you can keep up with in a day. It's discouraging, but also it's wildly invigorating. We got Enoch Zeros, or Zero Enoch Zero. I am surprised that I haven't seen anyone mentioning the passing of Joe the plumber today at age 49 from cancer. He was one of the first people to call out Obama to his face back in 2008. Joe the plumber. I know that someone died of cancer who also... Oh, no. Sorry, that was Scalise who was diagnosed with cancer. After everything he's been through, get diagnosed with cancer. Now, Joe the plumber, I'm going to have to... I'll look at that. I didn't hear that. And then we got Lord Dog says, talk with Barnes about the Joe Biden 2017 tax return. Online shows $10 million bribe. Okay, so that's that. Now, let's go to the regular chat. I don't see the chat. I don't know what changed in the interface. Oh, there's the chat now. Okay, good. Now I see myself. Let's just see what's going on in the chat in Rumble. Oh, yeah, so we got Whiskey Horn Alta says, do not comply, don't be a maskhole. I'm not. I wore the mask the last time around. And I took shit because on Twitter, on Instagram, I posted videos of me in the shopping center wearing my... Hold on, I think I still have it. Hold on. Yeah, I got it right here. I kept this as a sign of the times. Yes. Behold, this is like Texas Chainsaw Massacre level horror. I kept this mask. And I used to wear this mask. Not because I thought it did anything. I wore it. Again, one of those things. I didn't care if it did nothing. To the extent that it didn't hurt. I would do it to avoid fighting with fellow citizens in shopping centers. Now apparently studies are coming out showing that they're not totally without harm, even when they are the ones that do not contain potentially toxic graphene particles. But I used to wear this. I will not do it again, and I will not have my kids do it again. I will not let my kids do it again. And I sure as hell, oh my goodness, can you tell? You heard Joe Biden saying they're giving more money to get another jab, one that works this time, because it worked so bloody well the first time. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So that's what I think. To think about that. I'm not mask hole. LOL. Bacterial pneumonia. Of the things that we know now. Hold on. Let me do this one in real time. Masks, cancerous, COVID. I think there was a study. Here we go. This is it. I'm going to get angry again. Who doth call me? Toll free. Spam risk heightened. Share this, people. Get out of here. This is from the Daily Mail, that radical right-wing newspaper, August 27, so 2 days ago. Mask study published by NIH, that's the National Institute of Health, suggests N95 COVID masks may expose wearers to dangerous level of toxic compounds linked to seizures and cancer. Neither of those two things are good. A study published in April found disposable masks can have toxic chemicals. Experts said this could make newly instated masks mandates ineffective. Oh, it could make them effective, depending on what your goal is. The surgical N95 mask has been held up as the gold standard when it comes to protecting against COVID, but a study quietly reshared by the NIH in spring suggests the tight-fitting, I saw fight-titting for a second, mask may expose users to dangerous levels of toxic chemicals. Researchers from Yeonbuk National University in South Korea looked at 2 types of disposable medical-grade masks, as well as several reusable cotton masks. This one's neoprene. Look, oh God, you want to see something disgusting? I'll show you afterwards. All right. The study found that the chemicals released by these masks had 8 times the recommended safety limit of toxic volatile organic compounds, TVOX. I know TVOX. I'm familiar with TVOX because I had a case involving a residential unit, a residential tenant who sued the owner of the residential property that they were living in, or refused to pay rent, sued for damages because they claimed that there were too many toxic, volatile, organic compounds in the house. And we had to come in with experts, test everywhere, see what it was. Was it mold? Was it like anyways, oh God. That trial went on for, I want to say 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, over the span of a year and a half, because what was scheduled for 3 days. Oh my God. Inhaling TVOX has been linked to health issues like headaches and nausea. Know that damn well. While prolonged and repeated has been linked to organ damage and even cancer. Oh, and then you have your poster children for the masks. And then we got the study. Okay, I'll show that. It's clear that particular attention must be paid to volatile organic compounds, yada, yada, yada. Okay, let's see. Dr. Stuart Fisher, an internal medicine physician in New York, told the Daily Mail that strong conclusions couldn't be drawn from the study. Why? However, the study did not measure the effect of people actually wearing it. Okay. However, he did say that increasingly evidence has shown the drawbacks of mask wearing. He added that there seems to be diminishing returns on the need for masks. Okay, well, it's a longer article. I'll give everybody the link for that. Let's bring that out. Does everybody remember? Here, I'll give you the link to this. Here, link to article. There's a typo in there, but go ahead and read it. Let me pull something up here. We're gonna take a trip down memory lane in real time, just so we can refresh everybody's memory. Here, let's go here. I want this. There you go. Share. Let's do toxic masks Quebec. Yeah, let's just one. I mean, we're just going to do this just real quick, refresh our memories. Potentially toxic masks distributed in schools and daycares in Quebec. Gray and blue SN 200642 masks should no longer be used, warned Quebec and Ottawa, but only after they compelled people to wear them for extended periods of time. One model of mask distributed to Quebec schools and daycares may be dangerous for the lungs as they could contain a potentially toxic material, said the government, after forcing those same schools and daycare teachers to wear them for months. If you have this type of mask, don't use them. Some daycare had been suspicious for a while because they felt like they were swallowing cat hair while wearing them. All right, that's one. That's one trip down memory lane. What's the other one here? Plastics found deep in lungs. First time ever. Let's remember this article. Microplastics found. Scientists have discovered microplastics in live human lungs for the first time. What year was this? April 6, 2022. I'm sure it's a coincidence. I'm sure it's just random plastics in the atmosphere. It has nothing to do with what you might think it has to do with. The Guardian. Here, let's just see. This one's not behind a paywall. Although those ads are very annoying. Microplastics found deep in lungs of living people for the first time. Particles discovered in tissue of 11 out of 13 patients undergoing surgery with polypropylene and PET. Most common. Let's just go back here, people, and look at this. Just put in those words, because I can't possibly remember them. I mean, This might be exudation of microplastics from commonly used face masks in COVID-19 pandemic. Do I know what were the names of those words? Poly something? It's unbelievable. What was the word? We could do this forever. They've once you know that they've lied to you once, they've lied to you multiple times. If the masks themselves aren't toxic, just wearing them might be a problem. If you don't wear them properly, they do nothing. If you use them too much, they can cause other problems. Mask mouth, maskne, cavities in children now. Anyhow, okay, I'm preaching to the choir. But you just go down, just remember all those things. Just never forget. All right, what else? Let me go see actually if Justin Hart is coming. Justin Hart. You might remember him from such sidebars as Sidebar with Justin Hart. It was awesome. I like the guy. Let me see here. Are you able to make it? And if not, I'm going to go read some more stuff that we have here anyhow. All right, so what do we have here? We're not yet done. Oh, my goodness. Like I said, the only people who are not shocked and outraged by Judge Chutkan's outrageous, untenable, unprecedented, unbelievable scheduling of this trial. It's cool, 12.6 million documents, but don't worry, a lot of them are doubles. Oh, by the way, how do you find out which ones are doubles? Go through them. I know they have software that can match doubles. I forget what the name of the software was that we used to use at the law firms, but when I said the only people who are not outraged by this are too busy with their lives, dumb, morons, or liars, where does Mehdi Hassan fit in on all this? Mehdi Hassan, read Judge Chutkan's decision to set a Trump date, March 1st. As I noted yesterday, we should thank black women for doing... For the podcast people who are listening to this. Quote, Mehdi Hassan. Quote, we should thank black women for doing what a bunch of white guys have failed to do for years. Hold Donald Trump, a former president, accountable. End quote from the racist Mehdi Hassan. Do you know what kind of person looks at a judge and sees reflexively a black woman? A racist and a misogynist who only looks at people as tokens of their identity and not individuals. Everything Mehdi Hassan observes in life is tinted by his racist perspective of the world. Mehdi Hassan, I don't think we're going to play the full 3.5 minutes of this. Mehdi Hassan is the racist that he accuses others of being.
Donald Trump is a man with a long history of racism, one that long precedes his presidency and his...
Long. It's so racist, he was given the Ellis Island Award for Brotherhood back in the late 80s, early 90s. He's a long history of racist. Oh, yes. I believe he also dated a black woman, but that just makes him even more racist because he's trying to culturally appropriate the black woman. If you don't date a black woman, you're racist. If you do date a black woman, you're racist. And he's got a long history of both being racist by omission and racist by action. Oh my God. I hope all the money is worth it, Mehdi. I hope you're making enough money to justify selling your soul, although there's not enough money on earth that a human could take to sell their soul so egregiously.
His political career. He has had a problem with people of color for decades.
Decades.
We know he especially has a problem with black people.
Of course.
We know above all else that he has a real issue with black women, with strong black women. Don't take my word for it.
I won't.
Take Donald Trump.
Yeah, let's take his word.
He led a chant of send her back against Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and even spread vile and racist conspiracy theories about her personal life.
What were those wild and racist conspiracy theories? There's a little bit of justification for those theories, Mehdi Hassan. Some might say that you suffer from the racism of soft bigotry of low expectations. Send her back is not a racist statement typically, certainly not under the context. Especially, someone told Mehdi Hassan to go back to Britain, and he took that as a racist comment as well. When they tell Pierce Morgan, go back to Britain, not racist. Say it to Mehdi Hassan, racist. All roads lead to racism for the racist brain.
He called Vice President Harris nasty and disrespectful, and just this week mocked the way she talks.
He called Hillary Clinton nasty. Oh, when he calls Hillary Clinton nasty, he's a misogynist, you see? And when he calls Kamala Harris nasty, who's half black, it's racist, don't you see? And if he calls a man nasty. Well, it means nothing unless the man is gay, in which it's misogynist, or he's black, in which case it's racist, or he's Asian, in which case it's anti-Asian, or he's whatever. Oh.
She speaks in rhyme. It's weird.
It is.
It's weird. But she has bad moments. And
In rhyme? What do you...
well, the way she talks, the bus will go here and then the bus will go there because that's what buses do. And it's weird.
He accused Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson of being disrespectful. There it is again. Towards the white GOP senators who were...
Towards the white GOP senators? Mehdi Hasan is the most vile racist on the planet. I mean, it's just impossible. It's impossible. How does a brain even work like that? I see a person. It's like, imagine he's like the Terminator, where he's got a permanent like calculation system going off. He's looking around. Black woman, I can use her for that. White senators, I can use them for that. Can you imagine? It's got to be the sickest curse to be stuck in that head and view the world through these political blinders, these racist political blinders.
were questioning her. And even his own former advisor, Omarosa Manigault Newman, wasn't spared. He called her, a black woman, a dog.
He called her a black woman. Didn't he call Rosie O'Donnell a pig? Oh, well, that wasn't racism when he did. That was misogyny, you see. When he calls a black woman a dog, it's racism. When he calls a white woman a pig, he might have called her a dog. It's motivated reasoning. Or it's just no reasoning at all. I mean, but I could do this all day.
And yes, Donald Trump insults everyone and anyone, but there is something particularly vicious and bigoted to his rhetoric around black women.
Only if you look at a black woman, Mehdi Hasan, and say that they can't deal with the exact same type of attacks and critique from Trump that everyone else gets, in which case, you know what that's called? Bigotry of low expectations, Mehdi. Oh, he's not the white savior. Mehdi Hasan, he's out protecting black women because they can't do it themselves. Oh. Do we want to listen to any more of this crap?
So there is a huge irony to the fact that at the center of his many legal troubles right now are 3 strong black women.
3 corrupt politicians or 3 corrupt politically motivated actors. I could not care less that they're black or that they're women. In fact, Jack Smith is neither black nor woman, equally corrupt political player. Oh my, it's quite ironic. How about the fact that you are using them for their blackness, Mehdi Hasan, to carry out acts of political treachery? Who's the racist here? You love that they're black because they can do the most politically perverse stuff, and then you can claim that any attack on them is because they're black. Who's the racist again, Mehdi?
First up, Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis, who this week became the first prosecutor to get a mugshot of Trump.
Well done, Fannie Willis. A mugshot of Trump on the most pathetic excuse for an indictment you can possibly imagine. An indictment in which one of the acts of illegal conduct is Donald Trump asking Raffensperger to implement whatever the, quote, correct legal remedy is, end quote, in furtherance of illegal RICO charges. Okay. Fannie Willis, corrupt hack.
And is now prosecuting him for 13 felony counts, including racketeering, for attempting to overturn the 2020 election results. Remember, Jack Smith and Merrick Garland didn't insist on a mugshot for Trump in the 2 federal indictments against Trump in Florida and D.C. Fonnie Willis did.
I wonder why that is. Was it because hacks like you could then claim that any attack on her was because it's racist? Possibly. Are you using a black woman as a political tool, Mehdi Hasan? Definitely. Does that make you a racist? Absolutely.
And despite Trump's very personal attacks on her and on her character, Willis made it clear that she will make her decisions based on the facts and the law.
Oh, yeah.
I make decisions in this office based on the facts and the law. The law is completely nonpartisan. That's how decisions are made in every case.
Can you imagine, like, the level of juvenile stupidity it takes for men? She says she's only going to make decisions based on fact and law, so it must be the case. And yet when Trump says, I want to do things peacefully and patriotically, well, that's a crime. That's a dog whistle. I mean, they have no consistency in their logic. They have no consistency in reasoning. They have no ethics and they have no integrity. When Donald Trump comes out and says, I want to find the correct legal remedy, that is RICO-level conspiracy. When Fannie Willis comes out and says, I'm just going to make every decision based on the law. Well, you wouldn't think I would do something different. Well, then that's evidence that she's doing things lawfully. But you got to be an idiot. And Mehdi is.
Second, there's Judge Tanya Chutkan, who tomorrow is expected to set a trial date in the special counsel's election interference
Those eyes. Eyes are the window to the soul, people.
case against a former president.
Hold on. Is that racism? Is that racist, Mehdi? Viva Fry commented on the eyes of the judge being the window to the soul. Quite clearly a racist attack. Oh, sure, he said that, eyes are the window to the soul, 100 other times with 100 other people. But this time, it was different.
Chutkan has recently been the subject of racist attacks and death threats. This month, a Texas woman was charged with threatening the judge, saying, quote, if Trump doesn't get elected in 2024, we are coming to kill you.
Do you know that a woman from Canada was just arrested for sending an envelope with some toxic substance to Trump? Do you know that people get arrested for threatening Trump and for threatening Republicans as well? So who weaponizes victimhood and who downplays criminality? It's an amazing thing. No ethics, no intellectual integrity, no honesty. Thy name is MSNBC, and thy host is Mehdi Hassan.
Chutkan had already earned Trump's ire back in 2021 when she rejected his bid to keep secret papers about his actions and conversations leading up to January the 6th, saying, quote, presidents are not kings, and plaintiff is not president. And third, there's New York Attorney General Letitia James, who will be the first prosecutor to take Trump to trial this year on October the 2nd in her civil fraud case against him and his company. And as James pointed out when she announced the lawsuit last September, there cannot be a different set of rules for former presidents.
There cannot be different rules for different people in this country or in this state.
Can you believe that there are still people out there who are so ignorant and so lost that they watch this crap and they gobble it up? I remember being one of those people. Not necessarily with MSNBC, 60 Minutes. The production, they say it. It's got to be true.
And former presidents are no different.
James, like Willis, has been accused of racism by Trump. He calls them racists, as well as called all sorts of other names. Look, it's never not a good time to thank black women in America for their services to the Republic, for stepping up again and again to save American democracy.
Can you imagine anything more patronizing than this scumbag right now? Let me just hear what he just said again.
Look, it's never not a good time to thank black women in America for their services to the Republic, for stepping up again and again to save American democracy.
This okay. Bigotry of low expectations. What a demeaning, condescending, arrogant, pompous. There's never not a good time. We must always thank the black women of America. And I am the white savior who's doing it, but I'm not, of course I'm not white. He got into a tiff with Jordan Peele. It's so patronizing. Okay, I'm sorry.
Through their sacrifices, their strength, their activism, their votes.
Patronizing.
But this month in particular, we should thank black women for doing what a bunch of white guys have failed to do for years. Hold Donald Trump, hold a former president accountable for his alleged criming. And the fact that they're the ones doing it must be killing Trump.
The only person who would even have that thought as a process is a racist man like Mehdi Hassan. All right, well, I got the doesn't look like Justin's going to be able to make it today. We'll see if we can do it tomorrow. Still got some more stories to cover, and then we're going to go over to locals anyhow. So I'll organize with Justin, and we'll see when we can do this. Okay, now, hold on. What were the other stories? So that's Mehdi Hassan. Got to thank him. Got to thank him while they destroy democracy. You should thank them and say, thank you, ma'am. May I have another? Oh, okay, so I think we covered this. Oh, no, this one is just, okay, so more of the same. We're not going to play this, but judge sets Trump's federal election interference trial date. Oh, yeah, it's federal election interference trial date, all right. All right, so that's it. I mean, there's only so much you can talk about. We'll see what happens between now and the end of the week. Chris Christie. I now understand what the term rhino means. First of all, I always thought back in the day it was rhino like a rhinoceros. That's where I thought it came from. Republican in name only. Oh, first of all, second, well, let's just see here. I've also discovered a wonderful thing on Instagram where they add captions to videos, and it's great. It's actually quite accurate.
I think for Republican voters, the biggest thing they have to look at now is that, we're going to have a guy running for president who from March 4th, probably for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, it'll be more than that.
Will be every day in a courtroom in Washington, D.C., and not campaigning against Joe Biden. I think for Republican
do you
voters,
understand?
the biggest thing.
He's saying the quiet part out loud. He said, oh, it's such a problem that he's going to be for the next 6 weeks. No, it's going to be more than that, Chris Christie, and you damn well know it. It's almost like it's a feature and not a bug. It's almost like Chris Christie is, first of all, he's on Jake Tapper here. Let me finish this one up.
They have to look at now is that, we're going to have a guy running for president who from March 4th, probably for the next 4 to 6 weeks, will be every day in a courtroom in Washington, D.C., and not campaigning against Joe Biden.
Geez, it's almost like it's by design. It's almost like it's the same election fortification that we saw back in 2020. 2016, you all have to remember this. They didn't think Trump was going to win. And then he won, and the insurance policy was the Russiagate hoax, which they ran incessantly for 2+ years to delegitimize and undermine his victory. Paint him as a Russian collaborator, I don't even know what, a Russian plant. Basically tie his hands on any agreements that he could make with Russia in any event. That's what they did then. 2020 comes around and they say, well, cripe, we're not going to take this chance again. We're going to fortify the election. We're going to change the rules. We're going to change the rules on the ballot, and we're going to change the rules for the campaigning. We're going to basically try to make it impossible, if not, a liability for Trump to campaign effectively. COVID. Anyone ever think that they wouldn't let 200,000 people die or lie about exaggerate deaths so they could weaponize it politically to prevent Trump from campaigning properly? Anybody who thinks that that's a conspiracy theory, pull your head out of your ass. So the 2020, after they lost in 2016 with this mind-blowing, earth-shattering, matrix-shifting loss, 2020 they say, well, fuck, we got to make sure that he doesn't campaign properly, so let's exploit COVID. We got to make sure that the ballot is done differently, so we're going to change the rules there. And it worked. What are they doing now? It rhymes. It doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. What are they trying to do now? Make sure he can't campaign effectively 2.0. Not COVID this time yet, but they might try that one too. Make sure that he can't campaign effectively, not because of COVID, however, because of indictment trial that have no business being scheduled now. And what are they also trying to do? Let's go fuck with the ballots. Let's go try to pull some crap where we, Section 3, Article 14. Let's remove his name from the ballot. We talked about it Sunday night. Same play, just a different adaptation. And Chris Christie, swamp creature that he is more than happy to play along with it. But he had a second one. It doesn't matter. He was on, now hold on, I want to get it. He was on Jake Tapper, CNN. This morning he was on, who was he on with? MSNBC, doing the rounds. Man, he's investing the time. He's building the network. Do the rounds, tell CNN what they need to hear. Do the rounds, tell MSNBC what they need to hear. Build that network. And when his failed campaign is finally over, they'll say, "Hey guys, you need a senior analyst. I make the good Trump talking points, but don't worry, I'm not attacking Trump. I'm just keeping it real, kids. Here, listen to this, MSNBC this morning."
And so, what matters is the truth. And you could say I'm attacking Donald Trump, and I understand that's the way some people would look at it. But what I'm doing is telling the truth about Donald Trump.
Let's hear the truth.
I'm unafraid to do so.
What's the truth?
And that's why I didn't raise my hand on the stage on Wednesday night, because the minimum bar we should have for someone to be running for president of the United States is that they're not indicted or convicted of felonies.
Oh, that's the minimum bar. So all you're saying now, Chris Christie, is the minimum thing that the deep state would have to do to preclude anybody from running or to remove them from the ballot is convict them or indict them. Awesome. So DeSantis on human trafficking. Let's see, Vivek on insurrectionist talk. I don't know. Let's find something. How about you swamp thing? You think you're going to be safe? You might be safe. Who knows? Maybe the only ones that they're not going to indict or convict are going to be the ones that play ball. Maybe that's how it's going to work. Oh my goodness, Chris Christie. It almost sounds like you are towing the deep state apparatus line. Why? Because you are. And that's why you're on MSNBC and CNN basically investing in your future, because it doesn't exist within the GOP anymore.
Let alone the underlying conduct that is in the classified documents case, the January 6th case.
Am I projecting, or does it really look like he does not? It doesn't look like he believes what he's saying. He looks like he's being held ideologically captive.
These are acts that are just beneath the office he held when he committed those acts when he was president,
Oh, I'm sorry.
and the acts that he's committed since he was president
So you decide who can be president now, Chris.
are well beneath the bar we should have for anybody who aspires to be president again. So what I'm doing is telling the truth to folks, and I'm doing it in the way I've always done it. Absolutely looking into the camera like I'm looking this morning and telling people what I believe in my heart and what I know from my experience as a prosecutor. This guy is in big trouble. He's in big trouble because he did it to himself, and he's
in big trouble because he did it to him. What kind of idiot talk is this?
inflicting that damage now on our party and on our country. That's not right, and someone needs to stand up against that. I'm the one who's doing it.
What a loser. I mean, I'm putting it polite. What a loser. And I also don't believe that he does not look like he's doing that of his own free will. He looks like he's being held hostage. I'm not sure if I'm projecting, because I don't think anybody can actually sincerely believe what he purports to believe. But yeah, he's a deep swamp creature. All right. Well, hold on. We got 2 stories left, which I think maybe we'll do over at Locals, but hold on. Let me get to the chat here. I think we've done good, people. So Justin Hart can't make it today. We'll see if I can get him tomorrow, but I might have someone else on tomorrow. Also in the DeSantis field thing discussed, but it's not going to be about that. It's going to be about something else, but let me see. Actually, let me just see if I can confirm. Can I confirm for tomorrow? Question mark. At least let the public know, question mark. All right. Let's see if I can do that before. All right. Now, I was going over to the Rumble rants because I noticed a few more here. Okay. Where did we leave off? Okay, Joe the Plumber talked about... Okay, so it's the last one. I'm Not Your Buddy Guy is the last one. I've summarily concluded media such as CNN, MSNBC, Daily Beast, and practically every leftist outlet must be tried for treason, along with every individual connected. The civilizational damage is too much. It can't be treason. Treason has to imply... Did I just close myself out of here? Treason has to imply war, so it can't be treason. Oh, it can't be anything. I'm Not Your Buddy Guy. Don't get your hopes up. It can't... there's nothing to do about it. There's nothing to do except for change public opinion from the top down, from the bottom up. Let me go to the chat and see what's going on here. Elijah Fire, I understand what you're saying. I'm just talking legally for the application of the term treason. Hold on, let me just go treason, USC. Treason. Whomever owing allegiance to the United States levies war against them or adheres to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason. Penalty for that is rather stiff, and Don Jr. raised the good point when they were accusing him. Hold on. Okay. I think we're on for 1 o'clock. Let me just wait. Let me see. I can confirm live now. LOL. Okay. I understand the sentiment. It is the chapter of the verse from the Bible. I mean, they've made their money off actually destroying society, civilization. If we want to be very, Sarge Stoner says crimes against humanity. They've made their money off people's lives. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that as well. There's no. Yes, they are traitors as they support a global order over their nation, says I'm Not Your Buddy Guy. All that, we'll agree to disagree with on that, but the bottom line is the solution will not be one of violence, because I don't care. I know people don't like that. They don't like, they think it's the sissy Canadian thing, doesn't know. It will not be that. And like anybody suggesting it, I regard as Fed posting, and I will regard as anybody doing that and then falling prey to that type of rhetoric is asking to be entrapped by the feds. And that's it. It has to be grassroots to some extent, ideologically driven to some extent. And I say it's got to come from the top down and the bottom up, in that you got to let, it has to be cool to support free speech. It has to become popular to support freedom. And that comes from the ground influencing the top, and then the top getting the message and then running it back down the ground. Media is the enemy of the people. However, I will gladly say that. All right, now we got two stories. I think what we'll do is head over to the Viva Barnes Law .locals.com. Good, I got confirmation. Jenna Ellis is coming on tomorrow, 1:00. Going to talk. I'm not getting into the DeSantis infighting. I don't even say infighting. I'm not getting into the DeSantis Trump camp rivalry. I don't care about that. I actually deleted a tweet this morning because I said at some point this type of Twitter fighting is good for nothing, and I sincerely wonder if that's not the objective of some of the players engaging in it. Jenna Ellis is going to come on tomorrow and talk about the shit that she's going through. Because whatever you think of her politically, whatever you think of the things that she said, and it's what I said about Trump, which is why I say Chris Christie is a rhino swamp creature for not coming to his defense. You're not defending a person, you're defending a process, even if you dislike the person, the things they've said, and whatever. Although I've never really had any problem with Jenna Ellis. She's coming on tomorrow, 1:00, and we're going to talk about her arrest, her indictment, everything. It's going to be fantastic. All right. We've got a lot going on over at the vivabarneslaw.locals.com. I'm coming here to give you the link. And here it is. Come on over to Locals. The two stories, we'll do two quick stories over there. Let me see what I have in the chat. Not in the chat, in my bookmarks. A tweet from Tarek Johnson, whom I would love to have on. Tarek Johnson, if anybody doesn't know this, go look at his Twitter handle. Tarek Johnson is I'm so skeptical of everything. You have to vet people as to make sure that they are who they say they are. But January 6th Capitol Police officer, and has been putting out some very interesting tweets recently. So I'm going to read over that tweet and do my best to get an interview with Tarek Johnson. And that's fucking fraternity case. Sorry, I'm swearing again. Where the judge dismissed the girls' sorority lawsuit to exclude a male from their sorority. A male who had been engaging in very bizarre conduct after having, identified as female, gotten into the sorority and was checking out the girlies. And, there's going to be an American Pie comedy movie made of this, except it's going to be reality. And then that's it. Yeah, the Wyoming University. Okay, so let's do that, people. Come on over, if you are so inclined, to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Tomorrow we're going to go live again. And if you're on vivabarneslaw.locals.com, you got the sneak peek of the documentary of my road trip to Arizona for the public speaking competition that my daughter participated in. 30 minutes video, but it was 6 days of intense life. So come on over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. If you're not going to come, thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this wonderful community. Don't lose hope, people. I tell you, I think we're reaching peak insanity where things have to start coming back around the other side. Maybe if you project yourself into the event horizon of a black hole fast enough, you can actually use that velocity to whip yourself around the other side, and you actually just come out in the exact opposite direction faster than you could have possibly imagined. But don't be stupid and don't do stupid things, okay? Period. Thank you. Sugar on top. Please come over to Locals. Ending on Rumble now. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Peace out, peeps. Locals, are we good? Okay, I'm way behind. I'm 352 comments back. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we've got everybody in the house. Bill Brown, DZ Eyeball, EO Delicious, names that I recognize. JP Spooner. All right, Mighty Pay in the house. Let's just do I want to scroll up and see some of the memes, but let's just do the tipped questions right away. Mighty Pay, $1 tip. Viva Fry, check out the movie Strays. In theaters now, dogs and comedy. It was hysterical. People were literally laughing out loud at the movies. I don't go to movie theaters anymore. Let me just see what it's about. Is it an animation? Strays. Paragon Theaters, Delray. Max. Overview. Cast. Okay, real people. Oh, Jamie Foxx is in it. Wait, hold on. Will Ferrell's in it. Will Forte. Isla Fisher. I love Isla Fisher. I always thought my wife looked like Isla Fisher, and we wanted to name one of our kids Isla, but I-S-L-A. And for those who don't know, in Quebec, they would have pronounced it Isla. And so, because in French, they would have pronounced the S and not, pronounced it like the Isle of, what's the isle in Scotland that has, Jura, that has a great Scotch. So I think I could be convinced to see that movie. Tinashe Kajes, I don't know who she is. Randall Park. Oh, I love Randall Park. He was in the interview, and he does a couple of good commercials. Dan Perrault, don't know who that is. And Josh Gad. Okay, I can do it. But I'm not going to a movie theater, so I have to either find a way to watch it at home or stream it. Okay. Time Bandit, $5 tip, says, I've seen so many videos of Obama admitting that he was born in Kenya. I have to wonder why he has not been charged with international espionage and treason. Also, if true, every law he signed would be null and void. And the only reason I was inclined to even believe or entertain the idea was because of the vigorous vitriol that the accusation elicited as a response. Like, if something is a dumb idea, you laugh it off and you don't entertain it. The vigorous, how dare they accuse him of not being born in America? That convinced me that there was more to the accusation than a mere haha, dumbasses, enjoy your theory would have left in me. Remind me to talk to you about the fish tank afterwards. So yeah, that's like the whole. I would have never lent any credence to that theory, but for the reaction that it seemed to have drawn out. But wasn't there the Obama birth certificates plane crash? Wasn't there the woman who signed his original, who died in a plane crash? Why, yes, things just happen. God, it's terrible having a health director. Hold on, get this out of here. Get out of there. Health director who approved Obama birth certificate dies in plane crash. The health director who approved the release of President Obama's birth certificate has died in a plane crash, Hawaiian officials said Thursday. Loretta Fuddy died after the Cessna. Who the hell flies in a Cessna? Grand Caravan aircraft she was traveling on went down shortly after leaving Kalaupapa Airport at around 3:15 p.m. The other 8 people on board were rescued? Well, holy shit, this just got even weirder than it got before I remembered this. So she was the only one that died? No indication as to why the plane had crashed. What the hell? Dude, now I got even more questions. Holy crap, did I just open up a rabbit hole that I'm going to have to go dive down after this? Okay, so that was Time Bandit. Then we got Logos Majesty, $5 tip. Viva, do you believe these morons believe their own stupid ideas? Or they say them for the money and power positions they think they get? I think they've convinced themselves that they believe them. It's like when I think O.J. Simpson did it, okay? I think he did it. I don't think he believes that he did it. And I have no trouble believing that there are people who have committed heinous crimes who have convinced themselves that they didn't do it. So I believe that they have convinced themselves that they believe it. But they're idiots. There's no question about it. Yeah, what the now Fuddy Duddy, I don't understand. The story of Fuddy is awfully muddy. It's crazy. Okay, now let me see here. I saw some memes. There's someone that seems to be COVID testing a dog. Shut up. Okay. I'm not calling, who's this? Gypsy Muse. I'm not calling you a liar, and there's no but to this. I'm gonna save this photo, and I'm going to have to say that there's context to this photo. Dog. I'm gonna do a reverse image search after this stream is over, and there has to be some. They are not testing that dog for COVID. It's not possible. It's not possible. Of course, it's possible. Thank you for that picture, but my faith in humanity really. All right, what do we got here? Arizona under federal Hobbs. What a shame to see such a great state denigrated. And this is the trans flags over the state capitol, or I guess that's what the building is. The cashier watching me put no tip is Trump. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let me scroll up and just see if there's any memes that I missed before we just go over our 2 quick stories, and I'll tell you about our fish tank. Give me a friggin' break. Okay, we got it. Okay, there's too many messages to load now. We got Bill Brown posting Bill, I mean, I know everybody is hoping that I randomly pick you for the locals convo. I know I can't. It has to. It will happen, but it has to happen accidentally or because of one of my stupid mistakes. I was talking with someone actually about edibles, not edibles, but CBD or THC released pills. I don't understand how people smoke pot and remain functional, but sedition is the word I want. Lori JT, that's right. That might be the word. Okay. All right. Okay. At the drive-thru. Testing dogs for COVID is as stupid as when they are trying to... Testing the dog for COVID is as stupid as when they were trying to say that cats were getting it or passing it. Let me just... Okay, hold on. We're going to have to do this in real time. Tin Eye. So this is how it... No, I don't want to do that just in case there's anything on my... Let's show you here. Okay, so I saved the picture as dog. Okay, so check this out. Here. Let's see. Add to stream. Okay, there we go. Tin Eye. Tin Eye, first found June 21st. Does everybody know about this? This is not the best reverse image search, but it's pretty close. So we got to see which ones we get here. March 2021. April. So March is the earliest date so far. December is now the earliest date. Let's go to this one. Okay, I don't speak this language. I can't, oh God, okay, I can't even, you know I don't speak Spanish. Hold on, okay. News PHP, what is it here? Let's try this one. Donga Science. I don't speak this language either. ¿Qué pasa? Not going to be able to help with that one either. CNT. News article, coronavirus dog. Let's see, February. All right. Shut the. I don't believe it. I don't believe it until I see the picture in the article. I don't believe. Oh my God. The 8-year-old female Cocker Spaniel living in Seoul underwent the procedure after suffering a runny nose. Don't dogs, if they're healthy, have a running nose? Okay. All right, well, I'm done. That's it. Done for the day. Well, I guess, yeah, at least Fauci wasn't testing the dogs. Astral Doge Play says. All right, let's just go quickly with these 2 stupid stories of the day. No, share screen. Nope, get my fat fingers to get the thing here. Share screen. Here, we're not going to read the Fox News article. Wait until you hear what the judge says. We covered this story earlier. I need to get Riley Gaines on also for an interview. University of Wyoming sorority forced to admit 6'2" transgender person. District court rules. Now you know this is going to be bias. This is going to have an angle that's not in support of this, just from the headline. A sorority. We covered this story at the time. Let's see the picture. This is the person who apparently was covering his boner with a pillow while, talking about girls' vaginas and girls' boobies, because that's what women do in the locker room. I mean, if Road Trip has taught me anything, it's that girls walk around topless in the lockers, and that all women have artificially perfectly round boobies. I mean, that's what movies have taught me. A sorority at the sorority at Wyoming has been forced to accommodate a 6'2" trans-identified male named Artemis Langford. 6 female members of the sorority filed the lawsuit. They explained during testimony that Langford had watched them undress with erection. With erection, she had the biggest boner that anyone had ever seen. It's an amazing thing. District Court Judge Alan Johnson didn't care. He dismissed the lawsuit. According to Redux, the judge argued against KKG bylaw that states each member shall be a woman. He claims the bylaw did not define the term woman to explain what we're living through idiocracy. Like this is idiocracy. Speaking of, I need to get some electrolytes because, it's just, I've been doing curls, 100 curls of the 20-pound dumbbells after my morning jog. All right. In his decision, he wrote, the University of Wyoming chapter voted to admit, and more broadly, did he say the word broad? This guy's a misogynist. A sorority of hundreds of thousands approved, Langford, with its inquiry beginning and ending there. The court will not define woman today. This guy's aspiring for a Supreme Court justice position. The delegate of private voluntary organization, interpreted woman, otherwise undefined in the nonprofit's bylaws, expansively. They've defined it expansively. The term does not need to be defined expansively. It has a definition. If they wanted to imply an expansive definition, they wouldn't have used the word woman. They would have used the term person. Oh, I could have argued this better, but who knows? The judge may not invade kappa kappa gamma's freedom of expression and association and inject the circumscribed definition, plaintiffs urge. Straight to jail. Straight to jail is where that, I'm joking, but straight off the bench is where that judge should go. Holy, we are not going to define what woman means. They've given it an expansive definition well beyond the term woman. In fact, we read into their definition of the term woman as meaning any human. And therefore, when they used the term woman, they meant to include men with penises. Because had they meant to exclude men with penises, they would have used the term woman. Yeah, peak insanity is what it is. All right, that's stupid. I'll have to do maybe a car vlog on that later. And then we got Tarek Johnson. I'm so nervous, I don't know who to trust anymore, but former lieutenant with the U.S. Capitol Police. My goals are January 6th justice and to create national unity. And my goal is to get Tarek for an interview, but I'll work on that later. So he says this, and then we're going to go to the chat and call it a day. Message to J. Thomas Manger. I know you and your people are watching everything that is transpiring in the country and laughing at the January 6th community, as most are focused on officers from the United States Capitol Police and Maryland Police Department, and not on you or Pittman. I will acknowledge that you are winning now, but I promise you the tide will turn. This is piquing my interest. Pittman caused what occurred on January 6th, effectively torching our country, and you were brought in to cover up her sins, and so far you are doing a magnificent job. But there is the bad news. I'm not going to stop talking about you, and at some point, former President Trump's people will find out who you and Pittman are, and what you are doing to ensure Trump is not reelected. I will tell all within the January 6th community what has to be done now. It is time to protest, but not in the traditional way as you, J. Thomas Manger, will ensure that Ray Epps-type people show up at the events. What we can do is use social media, and I will ask all that follow me to tweet the phrase, "Who is J. Thomas Manger?" every day for the next 6 days until August 30, 2023. That's tomorrow. The day you, Manger, will begin interviewing for the next United States Capitol Police, ACOP. I don't know what that is. It's time to get you trending. You have turned the United States Capitol Police into a democratic weapon against the January 6th community and former President Donald J. Trump, and God has called me to disarm you. As always, sir, I will continue to pray that God will have mercy on your soul. Tarek K. Johnson. Dude, I don't know what that's about entirely, but that is fighting words. I don't know if anybody in the chat knows what's going on with that in any greater detail. Let me see here. Ooh, that was good. Okay, I'm just reading some of the chat here. Vivi, you said that you won't be wearing a mask again. Do you really expect masked Nazis in Florida? My cousin is moving. I don't know, but to me, it's so depressing and it's so mind blowing that you just come full circle. It's full circle of stupidity. They didn't make sense at the time. Certain countries didn't do it. The ones that did do it not only didn't notice any benefit, but might have noticed, other issues, all-cause mortality going up. And they're even seriously talking about doing it again. I mean, look at this thing, by the way. I didn't want to, I forgot to do it on the stream. Look at this thing. Look at that disgusting shit on the top of this. Like, just like coffee over here. Oh, I'm supposed to wash it. I mean, I haven't used this thing in a year and a half. Oh, it's beyond madness. It's abuse. It's abuse. It's physical, psychological, spiritual abuse. Okay. I'm waiting for Massachusetts to push the mask bullshit, says Mighty Pay. Sweden late in the house. Sweden late in the house. That's from Entry Required. Tarek Big Johnson. So that is it. I've given that. That's the chat there. Let me see if I missed any more tips or if there's any new ones that came through. No. So that's it. What else do we have going on? So oh, the fish tank. Okay. So you know that we've got, I'll send a picture later on this afternoon. We got that 225 gallon. It's not glass. It's not plexiglass. It's thick ass plastic, whatever it is. We got this 225 gallon fish tank, filled it up with the hose, used that, water, what do they call it? Water conditioner to get the chlorine out. And we've been just like getting minnows from the pond. Just little baby minnows. And I think we've actually, I'm trying to identify them now. I think we actually got like a couple of African cichlids or Mayan cichlids. And they're pet store fish. And I think a lot of them in these ponds are actually the result of people dumping their fish into the ponds and these fish becoming invasive species problems. So, and I got I put some seaweed. What the hell is the word I'm looking for? Some, like living grass in the bottom, some rocks, and it's working. The fish have now gotten used to eating the pellets. So I drop in a pellet, I got cichlid pellets, like cichlid food pellets, and they're eating it. They're growing. They're beautiful. And we've got that, what's it called? Solar powered aerator, which I have to keep moving with the sun, but it works. And we've got a beautiful, and it's right under a spot in the roof where when it rains, water goes into the tank. So I'm going to get a natural circulation of new fresh water, oxygenated water, and I don't have to have a fish filter. So it's going to be great. And that's what we got. So I'll send you all a picture of it. It's beautiful. I'm going to try to clean the inside of the glass, and it's been a nice distraction of a project. Excuse me. Sammy says, did you see the update on the Newberg 4 release? No, I didn't. Hold on a second. What is that? Newberg 4. Judge orders release of 3 of Newberg 4. This is July. And the sales FBI is in so that we covered that story. What's the latest update? Barnes and I talked about that one the week before last. What's the update on the Newberg 4? Okay, so hold on, because this was from July. News. 1 month. This is all a month ago. 3 weeks, 1 week. Okay, I don't know. Tell me what the link is, because or if you can send me the link. And then we got Red Team 33 says, thanks for the great stream. Thank you all for being here as always. Is that classic? Save image as UB, and he's even got UB. He's got the Uncle Buck, the UB. I hope Barnes is actually going to come stay with us one of these days if we can get on Patrick Bet David. I'm going to work on that. Barnes comes stays with us. Oh my goodness, he's already stayed with our family. He knows what it's about. When we stayed with him in Texas, he got a flavor, but we didn't have the dogs. Having to dodge dog shit first thing in the morning, that might be new to Barnes. That's classic Talix. That's the best thing ever. And then we got here. Got 2 brothers-in-laws, both lobstermen, here in Friendship, Maine. Okay, people are talking about lobsters. Okay, so what we're going to do is Judge released 3 of the 4 on July 28th. We talked about it. We talked about it the week before last. And we covered. He said it was like a made-for-TV movie about how to frame people. I'm sure it's the same case where they go and get these vulnerable men and convince them to do these plots so they can then foil a plot that they started and then say how successful they are, give us a raise, fucking ruin people's lives over this. Okay, don't worry about it. What else we got here? Mighty Piss says, what the hell? Can't send anything except. Sorry, this picture can't be uploaded because it's violating our terms of service. Content that meets or defines sexual activity, including images of are they calling my face genitals? Mighty Piss, see if you can try again. Oh, you were asking if I want some lobsters for the fish tank. No, we can't. I don't think we can have lobsters. It's freshwater. We can't have anything that requires land, like, turtles or anything. We're going to stick with small fish. It's going to be good. Okay. Viva, you'll pick someone great. Crazy D73 in the house. Well, someone pointed out that I might have made a mistake, Crazy Die, when I picked you, but I'll show you my mistakes. The issue is only to make sure that I don't just go and handpick people. If I make a mistake, I'll be transparent to my mistake. We're going to live with it, but at least, people say it. So, Crazy Die, it was fantastic. It's going to be another great one. So that is it. What we are going to do now. What am I going to do for the rest of the day? I've exercised. I said maybe I'll take one of the kids. I don't know. I'll go do something. Kids are going to be back from school sooner than later. So, everybody, Taco Tuesdays. I see the tacos from Simon for now. Thank you all for being here. It's been wonderful. Could have ended at 2 hours on the nose, but I didn't. Do I have a Celsius energy drink or do I have... I'll see what's in the fridge. Go. Thank you all for being part of this wonderful above average community. And I will see you. Well, I'll try to get in tonight with the bourbon with Barnes. And if I can't get in tonight, I'll watch it tomorrow morning like I've been doing these days. So go. Enjoy the day. Thank you all for being here. Peace.